going part-time with Millville. I was like kind of nervous because I wasn't sure if I could handle spelling and reading aren't my high quality at that time, but I've learned to get over it over the years. I used to carry keynotes with me, so I ended up doing pretty well on there for about 15 years. I enjoyed that, and I was shop steward for my union, the local 195 at the 177th Fighter Wing, and went from there to chapter president of Cumberland County, Atlantic County, and Cape May County for all the civil engineers, assistant civil engineers for the state military Veterans Affairs. So I moved far, and then I went on the school board, like I said, for 9 years. We helped I wasn't there for the football field. I was in the process of starting it, but I moved over to City Commission in 2002. But I was in process to get the school built, get the grants, and get that high school built. Now that thing was in process since 1984.
Wow.
I had graduated in 84, so that's how long it took to get this done.
Wow.
This is state funding which came from federal funding, and it just got the funding finally through, and with the right board members, and it is what it is now. It's a great thing.
Cool.
City Commission, it's a challenging it's a challenging situation compared to school board. Everybody thinks they're going to go in, you're going to get this done, you're going to get that done. You can't get, it's the same as the school board. You're on a board, and you cannot just pound your fist and get something done without at least another 2 votes. You need that to process and move things forward. So that's why the commission needs to work together. By certain types of commissions over the years I've watched for the last 20 years, because I've been in politics for 20 years, since 2005, they argue and nothing gets done. So a commissioner, if you're getting in there, you need to learn to work together, and you also need to take an insight from the public, because the public sees a lot of stuff that maybe you're not seeing, and you need to look into whatever they're talking about. And I like to have a community relations committee board, which come in with several people on the board, but the public will be invited, as I did with the school board, and it worked out terrific.
Cool.
So, but I'd like to introduce Dave Summers, and I'd like Dave to have the chance. So,
yeah, this is the first time for me as far as being involved in politics somewhat. I have family members that were in the politics, and I did help them out getting votes, stuff like that. And anyhow, my name is David Summers. I've been a little bit involved with like cleanup and stuff like that, helping out with cleanup that we done over the railroad tracks with Joe Suey, and he organized that, and with the rest of the other ones that volunteered to do that.
Dave, don't forget to let them know you brought your own heavy equipment.
Yes.
Dave brought his own heavy equipment and to help clean that railroad track out.
Okay.
And also Tom McGinney, he also used his own truck. But Dave did more than just pick up trash. Dave brought his own equipment, gas, and everything. He's kind of underselling himself.
I don't want to push it too far.
But I want the people to know how much you care.
What else have you done in your background, like either work history or anything else?
Work history, I worked for Wheaton since 1986.
Yeah.
Started there as a packer, then went on to be a mold maker, and then after that ran a machine operator on CNC machines. And then, of course, after that, I went to be a CNC programmer, which I took college courses over at college and tech school training. I took over for Haas over in Tennessee and also over in Pennsylvania. So I, of course, repairing the machines, programming them, and setting them up. And I still work for that company. Technically, it's under a different name because it was bought out by several different companies. Today it's called Nipro. But I'm still with them after 38 years.
Cool.
But, yeah.
And would you say any of your experience or work history would help prepare you for the role of
commissioner?
Commissioner?
As far as doing stuff with the computers and being familiarized with everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And as far as the college courses, they were all done around, how would you say, somewhat engineering. Doing that, and as far as moving myself, pushing myself ahead and not being satisfied staying at one level. So whatever I do, I try to do the best that I can do with it.
You're a manager there too, right? Can you explain that role and what you do?
Supervisor. I help other guys that are running machines to set up, instruct them when they have problems with their machines and stuff like that. It's set up on understanding the programs for it and how to operate certain parts of the machine if someone maybe forgot something or stuff like that, or if it's a new job. And I use some CAD-based software. It does some SolidWorks in it. And I use Bobcat software and another one called TechSoft.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're a problem solver because you solved some problems for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know you solved some problems at that factory as well. So as your management skills.
Did I hear correctly? You guys are running as a ticket?
You were running together, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And is it just you two?
Just us two right now.
Oh, okay. So then,
But we're willing to listen to other candidates too, because if we win or he wins or I win,
yeah, there'd
or
be
we
three
both
other
win,
people.
we
Yes.
got to work together. So
Sure. Absolutely.
working together is a very important thing to the city.
Right. So I've seen, or I've heard both of you guys say how important that is. Would you say that would be one of your top priorities or like agenda items, like making sure that however the election unfolds, you're going to try and work together with other people?
From a scale 1 to
Yeah.
20, it'd be 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So working together. Well, and then what other priorities or agenda items would you say are at the top of mind for the two of you?
When I was commissioned, I mean, I'd like to get back to what I was doing. I only had 11 months. I took that seat. Actually, here's what happened. When I first ran there in 21, I picked up the petitions around mid-January of 21. Then after a few months pondering it, I decided I threw it in a drawer and I wasn't going to run because my mother was retired and having a hard time dealing with it. And many of them might know her as Mary Ann McQuade or Mary Ann Owens. My stepfather was Jim Owens. They owned the Fairfield Insurance Agency in Fairton. Well, he retired too, and we had our hands filled with my mom.
Yeah.
But Kurt Hewitt called me like the last week of July and wanted me to run. I said, well, with him and Joe Suey and Lisa Orndorff. And I said, I don't know. Let me think about it. Give me a couple days. So I thought about it and I told him, yeah. So I had 28 days. I went out and got the names and I ran. I did lose. And then after the election, I did lose my parents 6 days apart from COVID-19. And I was in the hospital as well with COVID. After they realized I was starting to feel better in the hospital, they called me and said, would you mind taking the seat of Jim Quinn, who does not want the seat now? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, again, let me think, because I'm in the hospital and I'm sick.
Sure, yeah.
So the day before they were going to release me, I called them and told them, yeah, I'll take it. So I took that, and I first few months, it was kind of familiar because of the school board, but it is a board situation, and nobody has no more power than anybody else on there. I don't care if you're the mayor or not.
Right.
I felt it out, and my one department I had at the time was streets and roads. So I went with Wayne Grossman, and I told him basically, you're the director, and I'm the commissioner. He goes, no, you're the director of public safety, or public works. I said, no, I'm just the commissioner. I'm your pencil pusher, and get you what you need. You need to show me what you want to get done, and I'll let you know what I want to get done and see if we can do this. We need to work together, and you need to teach me the job, which I know the job now. So we went out. It worked perfect. We went out painting curbs. We got all the curbs painted up, making the streets look clean. We went through the city and cleaning up all the curbings and everything besides the sweeper trucks, the gutters, got that cleaned up really good. Then with Chris Finch, who was also working with Mike McNiss then before he retired, I went out with Chris on Saturdays and the guys, and we had a bulk pickup throughout the summer. We hit different areas of the city, which worked out good. And I went out with them and helped load it up the trucks. I even went out and helped eliminate bees nests in trees. So I like to get back to that because I've also worked with Commissioner Suey, who's very great in bringing.
Yes, he is.
Like him or not, it makes me mad because he's not a people person, right? He's one of them people that you might be talking to you and you're like, oh, he's an ass. But it's not true. If he doesn't like you, he ain't going to talk to you. If he likes you, he's going to talk to you. And you might not like how he's talking to you, but he knows what he's doing. We were able to finally get that factory tore down because nobody wanted to sell that property to Anthony DeSantis, for one thing. So we had a meeting in the background.
Can you unpack that, or are you allowed to unpack that?
Yeah, why not? It's been out there.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can unpack it because we had that and we got the property where it was sold. It was because it's public knowledge anyway.
Okay.
So he had a right to have the property, and he could have that property as long as he tore down the buildings. That was the main goal. The buildings had to be tore down. I wished it was tore down prior to my election in 22, but it didn't get done because there were some environmental hazards that were still there. Mm-hmm. But that was a 15-hour arbitration to get that through.
What was the controversy, or what was the problem with selling the land to him?
We'll just say certain people within the city aren't fond of him. They're not here no more.
Okay.
Anthony has a New York type of
demeanor.
Thank you. And sort of like Suey, he's not a people person, but he can get things done. Unfortunately, right now, I understand there's still some biohazard problems with the debris. I don't know the full extent with it.
So you're basically saying it was just a personality thing?
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with like legalities or whatever.
No, there was, and the debris had to get cleaned out before he could start tearing the buildings down.
Right.
Again, and that's what took so long. But it's just a personality thing. I mean, Millville is a good city. I grew up here. I was born here in Millville Hospital, and we'll just say certain people have certain ways they want to do things, and they can't move forward to the new ways.
Sure.
And it's not really changing the city for the bad. It's going to change it for the good.
Yeah.
We just got to start working together, and I'm hoping and praying that factory area will get cleaned out.
Yeah, so it seems like everybody wants that to happen.
And DeSantis had a meeting with us, with Lou Magazoo, his attorney at that time, and it was going to be a cold storage facility coming in there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's still in the making or not. They had a whole layout for that cold storage coming in. The railroad was going to be a big supply of the bringing in the produce for cold storage. It probably would have started out with a few hundred people and ended up to maybe 5,000 people working there. Luca, if you look at which was Luca Cold Storage in Vineland, they have quite a few thousands of people that work there. And Walmart has a distribution center for produce and fish with them off of Garden Road there in the industrial park in Vineland. They work right along with Luca. So it'll be something beneficial if it's still into play.
And how about you, Dave? Why don't you give me one of your top priorities that you'd like to see happen?
Priorities continue on with cleaning up the city. All of us really work good together. I was really enthused with that. You know, the way that department, Parks and Recreation came out.
Yep.
And yes, I looked around and seen everybody just working together as a big group and getting things done. That was nice.
There was a lot of trash there. There was actually a small pharmacy that was there. We toured their building down. They had a lot of paraphernalia there. So, and they had butyrol. I don't understand why they would have butyrol. Maybe when a caller can call in, they could let me know why they would use butyrol.
Some local scientists.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. There were boxes of butyrol, and I was like, you can use this too, huh? Mm-hmm. But it was interesting. It cleaned up. It's, the neighbors in the area are supposed to, we're hoping that, they'll call the department if there's any other issues going there. We did start in the 3rd Street department and 3rd Street Railroad.
Yeah.
In that area where people were complaining, railroad ties and stuff. We did start there. Unfortunately, Dave had put his heavy equipment there, and he was there before I was at 7 o'clock in the morning. We were supposed to start at 8, and Dave was there at 7.
Workhorse.
And he was cleaning up, but director of public safety, it's not public safety, Parks Department, Samantha Crease wanted us to go to the 3rd Street, South 3rd Street area, 4th, 5th, and 6th. That was on the top issue. But we're hoping to get back to that one eventually, because we did have some people ask about that. So if anybody's in concern of that, it's in the works. Hoping that Commissioner Suey, who's now in charge of the Parks Department, will organize that.
And Dave, do you have any ideas for areas that need a little bit more cleanup?
Yeah, I would go back to some because when we were going around getting our 75 votes, he kind of asked them what was their concerns.
Sure.
And a few of them came up and did say cleaning, and then I did hear one of them say something about the trash. Remember you saying
that was at the fairgrounds.
Trash at the fairgrounds?
The trash tax is what it is. That's an issue. As we know, it's I tried to explain them. It's an issue that's not just going through Millville; it's through the entire state.
What do you mean by trash tax?
Well, you have people are paying $60 in Millville quarterly for trash removal with your trash can.
Yeah.
In Salem, I have friends that live there. I talked to them last year about it, so I don't know if it still goes on that way or not. But Salem has a sticker, $1 sticker per bag. So what some of the people in Salem were doing, like the buddies of mine that were there, they put a construction bag in their trash can, a large one, and then they would throw other bags inside of it, tie it up, and as long as the bag was tied up with a $1 sticker, it was fine.
People are amazing.
Yeah, it's how Salem wanted to do it. So
yeah, sure.
But this all ties back to the apartment building and the way some type of a state contract or state resolution was drawn up many years ago.
Okay.
And these new attorneys that came into these apartment sites, I understand. I'm just going off by what I was told.
Sure.
Seeing loopholes where they could probably get the city to pick up the trash on the taxpayers. And I don't have a problem with that if it's a small and pop 4 or 5 apartment building that's in Center City. But these large apartment buildings, I have a problem with, because now you're talking about a corporation that owns apartment buildings not just in New Jersey but around the country, and they can afford to remove their own trash from their residents. And I'm sure that they charge their residents trash removal as well. And try, and then they're trying to get it done for free as well. That's my personal opinion, but that's an issue we'd have to sit with the solicitors, your state senators, and assemblymen and hash it out.
Right. You gotta make sure you're doing it the right way.
My
make sure it's all
community
legal, all that kind of stuff.
Right, and my community relation committee, if we had that, I would invite some of them to come to the meeting and hear from the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That have put them in office.
Cool. So, what else is on your guys' agenda? What would you like to see happen?
I would like to talk to the public a little more as far as when we were going around the house. We didn't have enough time because we were trying to go out and get votes.
Yeah.
And I would like to sit down and talk with some of them a little more to find out what their needs are, what's important to them.
Yeah, we do plan on going back to people, especially after the election.
If they want to talk, I'm ready to listen.
Yeah,
that's why we started this radio show.
You guys could open up the phone lines and get that conversation started.
Yeah, if anybody wants to call in, please call into the station here, and we're willing to talk to you and answer any questions. Even some candidates, if you want to call in, feel free to call in. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, it kind of goes in line with some of my advocacy points. Like, I've been running this project called Inform the Vote NJ, and sometimes it's just hard to know exactly where to go, who to talk to, how to put all the information together. And I think what we could use around here is a little bit of rebuilding the press. In other words,
Yeah, there ain't much of that anymore.
if some type of press outlet was doing those kinds of surveys for you, you could just review it. Now, obviously, you want to talk to people yourself as much as you can, but there's only so much you can do in one day, right? There's only 24 hours in a day, and you're not going to knock on 30,000 different homes and get perfectly researched data. But what's your guys' general take on trying to help ensure that we do have a local press come back into town, or at least a stronger presence than it already is?
Yeah, I'm definitely for that.
Yeah. How about you, Rob?
I am for law enforcement presence. I am definitely for that as well. I'm sorry. I was answering a question. Somebody
more like journalism reporting.
Oh, journalism. I like actually with the school board. We had Joe Smith would come in and he would actually film us with his phone for Facebook.
Oh, really?
He had a whole tripod set up with his phone, and he also wrote it for the newspaper as well. Joe did that also for City Commission, but our Daily Journal was owned by US Today, and they don't feel that local news in your local township is worthy of their paper. So that's why Joe Smith left. And he's actually working for Pittman Times or something.
I seen him post some stuff in the Courier
Post.
Is that the same one?
Yeah,
Okay.
There was a small paper in Pittman too. I think it's a free paper too.
Right.
He was doing that as well. Unfortunately, we just can't get press coverage. So I actually challenge citizens out there, if you could go and take your own phone and start televising it for free, because it is on YouTube, but not everybody goes on to YouTube or knows how to with the links, but it seems like everybody knows how to do Facebook. So if they get a ding that there's
that's actually a good
posting,
point.
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought of it before. It's like, but now that you're saying it out loud in that angle, there is a lot of information out there. But if you don't know where to find it, or if it's not properly advertised, or if it's not being presented to you at the right time.
Right.
Like for me, part of the reason why I'm doing this and the way that I do it is because I opened my sample ballot 2 years ago and I was like, okay, it's time for me to sit down and do my voting homework. But then I spent weeks trying to find, like, well, is there some type of newspaper article about the county commissioner election? I don't see one.
Nope.
And then people start telling you, like, oh, well, you can go to the county commissioner meeting. And it's like, where is that? Bridgeton? Oh, so I'm driving 30 to 45 minutes to show up to a meeting that I don't know anything about, and nobody's going to explain anything to me, with a 300-page agenda packet and blah, 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 blah. And that's when it starts to become very obvious how important the press is, because they're not just there recording or just writing down random bits of information from the meeting. If they're doing their job well, at least in my opinion, they're helping you understand what's the important part, how might you interpret it one way or the other. If somebody takes a vote on a random issue, what does that actually mean to the public?
Right.
All that kind of stuff.
And there was one township, I believe I did this, I went for you to inform your, give information, inform the vote. I'm not going to give the township's area that I went to, but it's, we'll just say backwoods town in South Jersey here, it's old school. Actually, when I walked in, I felt like it was Mayberry. When I walked in, it was really back in the day.
I know what you mean. I know exactly which town you're talking about, and I know what you mean.
It had a pleasant atmosphere and stuff. But when I got up to and actually talked to them about your program, Inform the Vote, and tell them what you've done, and basically what I said in the beginning of the show, and where they could be interviewed and they're up for office, and it's perfect for people to know what they're up to and how they're coming about, because you don't have press coverage. They said, though, that's why they come to the meeting here. And I was like, I understand that, sir, but you have maybe 10 people
Right.
I'm sure you have more than 10 people in your township, and the only way for that to get out, because you're not airing it on YouTube either, so the only way for that to get out is word of mouth, and sometimes things don't always come out the way you said it when it comes out of somebody else's mouth. So if you had informed the vote, he's not there to rip you apart or give you his biased opinion. He's there to cover the news and what's going on and inform the people of what your government is planning on doing for your township.
And not just that, but because there's a little bit of nuance there somebody could probably debate against. But again, the point is to do it around elections, right? We've got, to take Millville for an example, you've got about 20 different people running who probably all have different opinions. There's a bunch of issues going on in Millville. Who's actually going to take the time to parse through all that information?
Right.
You almost need somebody to be watching and being like, well, this person said that and the other person said this, and sometimes some of the candidates say things that don't really make sense, and so you have to follow up and ask clarification questions and play a little bit of devil's advocacy to see what's really going on,
Right.
And your average parent with 2 kids in school and maybe working a job or two, they're really not going to do that,
No.
So we kind of do need people making sure that the information's getting out at the right time and hopefully presented in a way that the average person is going to understand without having to take 2 weeks
And also,
of a crash course on local politics.
Right. And they don't have to, actually, though, too, like on Steve's site, they don't have to sit through all the hashing of all the revenue and all the arguments that it goes through, and this resolution, that resolution. He just cuts down to the point. He'll ask them questions, and this way you know exactly what's going on, because he'll break everything down for you on his site, and it makes it a lot easier, and it's time saving for you. Now, I did have a resident text. He goes, he wanted to know about roads in Millville, and the main road he is talking about is Broad Street. Why was it only partially paved and the rest of it not? Because it's bumpy as heck, he says, going through the junior high. Well, first of all, Broad Street's a county road up to, I believe, 10th Street. It starts as a county road. Then the rest of it is city. And what happens is, I worked with Commissioner Suey with this too, because he would get those grants and they would go through it with the engineer on what streets need to be done the most that are popular, popular travel roads.
Sure.
So, Broad Street it's bumpy. It's may not go in that criteria right now to get fixed, but it is bumpy, and he's not the first. I've had probably, since we were knocking on doors, about 30 people tell us about it. It has been getting worse, but that, I think, will eventually be on the agenda to at least get a cover over, retar over top of it, at least to calm the bumps down. But I know there's a lot of streets yet that need to be done, so they have to be patient, but it'll get done. Actually, if you want, bring it to your commission meeting, and commissioner that's in charge with the engineers should be able to discuss that with you there, or call engineering department and you can talk to the engineer.
Yeah. And that's actually really good information, because in terms of me trying to do things from my angle, I find a lot of times people just don't really have the education to know how their local governments are working. And that brings up one of my other advocacy points, which is reintroducing local civics and civics into education, because you would want somebody to know, like, oh, there's something wrong with my street. What department do I call? How can I actually advocate for change, and all those kinds of things? Because sometimes these processes feel a little intimidating. Like, oh, I'm going to call the mayor and demand change. Like, most people probably don't think they can do that. But
you can call, as long as you're not, like, aggressively nasty.
Yeah.
they'll give you their opinion, what they think they can do, and you can be a squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
You call, like, say you called today on the 2nd of September, and now it's like the 30th of September, and you still haven't got a response. Well, call back and get their email, and you can bombard them with email.
Sure.
Squeaky wheel gets the attention.
It's not always just about the squeaky wheel getting the attention, but it's also about if you do know what the appropriate process is, then you can stand with a little bit more confidence, like, no. This is what the public school taught me how to function in my community. I'm calling this department. I know it's the right department to call. So let's move this process forward. And if it's important enough to me, I'm not going to back down.
Right. And if you don't know that, if you have an issue, I don't know, trash, say, or something at the pond you see at the Corson Park or Union Lake you don't like, for example, you don't know what department to call. You might know parks, but you don't know who at park. You could always call 825-7000, and then you hit the extension prompt for the city clerk. Yeah. And either Joanna will answer, or Emily, I think it's our new clerk, and they will direct you politely to the department and the department head that you would need to talk to. Right. And they'll give you the commissioner as well. So, I always say start out with honey. If you don't get what you want, give vinegar.
Right, exactly.
But you know what? I want to hear what Dave has to say on this.
Actually, before you get started on that, I'm going to drive over to Millville. Okay. To cover that. But I very much...
before you leave, can you get the phone number to this station so we have...
Yeah, it's 0092, I think.
Yeah, 856-696-0092.
Yeah, we'd like to have some people call in. Steve's going to be leaving us. We'll be heading to the city commission meeting after 7 o'clock tonight to see what's going on there. But we'd like to hear from you. We want to hear, what your concerns are, or anything that you like about Millville and what's been going on great about Millville. This is what the show's called, Talk Around Millville. Steve, we really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck with your show, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you both more over the next couple months.
Yep.
All right, later.
Take care. High Street has been a big issue, too, for a lot of people. At one time when I was a part-time police officer, I would patrol the streets with several different officers, Anthony Sills, and he's also our animal control officer. He's a very great guy. I like Anthony. And Lance Kohler. Lance was a correction officer for county for quite 30 years almost, I do believe. And then he took the he took time to become a police officer for Millville part-time as a special officer. He wanted to dedicate his service more for public service. So, okay, how do we got a call. How do I pick that up?
Ask this guy right here. He's picking it up.
Yeah, we have a call, and you just go, hello, you're on the air.
Okay. Hello, you're on the air. Hello, you're on the air.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hey there, everyone. This is Jimmy. I had a question for Mrs. McQuade and Summers.
Yes.
Since we here in Millville have a nonpartisan at-large election for City Commission, we have a lot of candidates in each election. What sets you guys apart from the rest of the candidate pool?
What sets us apart from the rest of the candidate pool? Well, I've been very active in the community since 2005. I've been doing a lot of cleanups in different areas of the cities. I volunteer myself picking up televisions for people who can't get them to the proper facility on streets and roads. Gone out and helped people personally at their house that, for free. I was a part-time police officer for Millville, as I was trying to explain before when the call came in, which I'm glad you did. And I was there when we actually had the crime level going down. We had street crimes out there. I have knowledge on how Chief Harvey had that process done with street crimes, and it was an astronomical thing. It helped out great. I've been on the school board for 9 years, and we brought, like I said, we had the school system, but with the new school being built in. We also changed a lot of way the things that shouldn't have been taught in school are coming back to basics of what we've did when we were in school. As commissioner, I went out with the guys every day, and I didn't oversee, but I worked with them, and while their supervisor was overseeing, he was actually helping me learn the job, and seeing areas that needed to be done, even where crime levels were at. And at that time, Commissioner Ewart had his officers go in those areas more heavier when we had the number of police, and the crime level dropped. Unfortunately, the officer number dropped, and we do have new recruits coming in, but as new recruits come in, it will take some time for them to be on their own on the street. What would you like to see from your commissioners, and what would you like to have done?
Well, I'd just really like to feel represented, sometimes that isn't always the case. I'm just wondering, what you guys bring to the table. What are the first few couple things you're doing if you get elected? Just kind of get an idea of where you guys stand.
Well, my brings you to my experience over the last 20 years working within the political field, and my 9 years on office as city commissioner, as school board member, and as a year as city commissioner. So I have the knowledge for there, because it's in order to get things done, like I can't do it by myself. If I'm voting on something, I need at least 2 more votes to get it to go through. Commissioners, our government's different than say like Vineland, because the mayor has no more power than the parks commissioner does. He gets maybe $10 more in his pay, and that's it. And it's not a whole lot in their pay. It's like $150 after taxes. So when they're doing this, when somebody's doing this, they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart for their city, because they care and they love their city, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort when you're there. So anybody who takes that seat, like them or not, they are spending a lot of time. They're trying to help the city, and they're not getting any really big benefits from it. As you know, like $150 a week, it goes quick. So that's not even a pay. It's because of the love. You have to love your city to want to run this office. It's like as a school board member, you get nothing to be a school board member. You have to do it because you care and you love the school. And I wanted to be a part of that school board member as a board member, because I was on the child study team when I was a kid. And as I mentioned in the beginning, spelling and reading was bad for me. I had a hard time, and unfortunately I had a strong mother, and I was able to succeed in life. I'm 60 now, so I moved forward pretty good in life. If you were listening in the beginning, I was a shop steward. I was a chapter president of my union for Atlantic County, Cape May County, Cumberland County. I was assistant to the civil engineers down there, and part-time police officers writing reports and patrolling the streets. And it's just those jobs actually helped me mature and move forward too. And I enjoyed my job with the 177 Fire Wing, because our job as a civil engineers helps support the mission that the the air defense for the eastern side of the country. That's actually the support from north to south on the East Coast. They support that defense. But Dave, did I answer your questions?
Yeah, it did create another question though.
Okay.
Speaking to your point on, having to have another couple of votes to get anything to pass, do you feel that you have built those relationships with other candidates such that you can?
Yeah, I know most of them. I worked with Carmen Delvicario, I didn't work with him, but I worked with his 2 brothers, Sergio Delvicario and Tony Delvicario, and I met Carmen through them, and Carmen's a great guy. Joe Durella, I've known him for years because he was my school teacher and was my therapist when I got injured quite often, and Joe's a great guy, and I know I can work with him. Rick Cott, I worked with him as a part-time police officer. I was working under him, and he was a great guy to work with. And I'm trying to think, Dave Summers, I've known him for a while, and who's with me, and he's a great, nice guy. He's done a lot with the city, especially recently using his own equipment to clean these railroad tracks up and stuff. Miss Kirsten, I met her when I became commissioner, and she seems to be a very nice lady, and I like her a lot. And Ranella, I worked with her on the school board, and she was a big help on some things that I might not understood, and she was more clearing it up in my head so I could vote yes or no on it. And I'm trying to think of the other ones. I can't remember them all who are running. If I can't remember you, I apologize. There's so many of them, but most of them I really know. And I could work easily with anyone. I'm an easy guy to work with, and I like to hear everybody's pros and cons on things, what's going, because it might look good on paper, but what's it look like in real life? And that's why I would like to do a community relations committee that I did with the school board, and I actually had teachers, students, and citizens involved in that. They could come in. We broke down into groups after the superintendent would write down all our ideas, and then we broke down in groups and tried to pick maybe out of 30 ideas, 2 that we could work on for the community, for the school board, to move forward on trying to make the school better. And then once we accomplished those projects, then we would move on to others. And it wasn't just, teachers and board members, it was Azure citizens. All right, well,
I feel pretty satisfied. Thank you for your time,
yeah,
gentlemen.
thank you. I took 2.
Okay, keep on going.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else would like to call in? Please call in at 825-696-0021. Or 29, sorry.
696-0092.
Sorry, that's my dyslexic. Dave, you have any ideas for High Street? The stores, when I was patrolling, there was a lot of stores down there.
I remember the pizza place there,
Yes.
and it was pretty crowded there on Friday nights. Man, there was a lot of people. I know the drummer of the place down there used to work with me.
Right.
It's like I said, I got know a lot of people from the factory, and I run into them every once in a while. I run into some of them.
Yeah, we used to have the stores used to be open late at night because we had a lot of foot patrol, and we would patrol those streets up until midnight. We don't have any class 1s or class 2s that I'm told that can do that right now, and the department is short-handed. So, it's kind of hard to have a bike or foot patrol right now. But
can they take volunteers to do that? Of course, I know they got to take schooling and certain things.
They can. I mean, they could try to get more part-times, but it's going to be against with the union because I think the union might have a problem with part-time because it could take time from other officers that could do overtime. It could be a union issue at this particular time. You could probably, if the city had money, like I've seen in Camden, they use security, like LI Universal, that would help. But again, you'd have to have the funding. The sheriff department's in the city, but they're also being paid by the city to come in and out. They do. I understood they have gave some free time to us as well. So that would be up to the commissioner who's in charge of public safety in the county. So they, as county commissioners, used to be called freeholders. But we need the stores open. Now, do you have any ideas how we could possibly convince stores to come back? We used to have Third Fridays down there. We actually, when we started Third Fridays, we would block the streets off as officers, and everybody could walk around, and the stores would give out wine and stuff to drink, and they could walk down the street. Samples and stuff. And it was actually a fun time. It's almost like being in Cape May. It kind of petered away, and it kind of petered away after Chief Harvey was no longer chief. It's I don't know if it was because of funding, because I ended up leaving the department around 2011 because I got injured at the 177th Fighter Wing, so I had to retire because my pension was tied into both, from the military state job to the Millville Police. So but I don't know, what kind of stores would you like to see down there?
Oh, probably a bakery. They used to have one at one time.
Abbott's.
Yeah. It's crazy to say because I used to be a baker at Dunkin' Donuts back in the 70s and early 80s. And I also worked part-time for Mr. Donuts in Millville at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I was baking. They had to do it all night. John Sherman used to own that. He was an ex-state trooper.
Great. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody just texted in. They wanted to know what kind of activities would we have for our juveniles to keep them active during the off-school season when they're off of school.
Well, I have an idea, but I don't think too many people are gonna like it too much. A community swimming pool.
Well, we do have one, but they got to join into it. We used to have the lake open.
Right.
I don't know what the reason is right now, but I was part-time officer at that lake during the week, and we would have to have like 4 lifeguards. Actually, there was a lot of people that came out there for that. Other activities in town,
Well, you're giving them something to do instead of looking for something else.
Right.
I mean, and then not only that, give them a nice basketball court that they can play at. I mean, these kids around here are good at that.
Folks, if anybody would like to call in and ask Dave Summers a question, please call in at 856-696-0092. We'd love to hear from you, good or bad. Please give us a call in. So, that being said, is there anything else that you would like to talk about yourself?
I was thinking, I mean, the people that we went around to, I got a lot of information from them. I'd like to have done that a little bit more to see where everybody said at, and see what was number 1 and see what was number 2 of their concerns, and do the best we can to make that happen.
Yeah, there was a lot. A lot of it was the trash and the
right, trash,
like I
taxes.
explained.
They mentioned taxes.
Yeah, and
I mean, as far as us getting like outside money from new development
and roads and
yes, they want to. I mean, that's what I say. I mean, I know that they want us to definitely come up with some kind of plan to do something about taxes, and I understand that. You know, you still have your county taxes and your school tax involved in that pie. So, but yeah, we needed to. I have a couple of ideas, kind of like all the city property we got around, really, that they're not getting their tax revenue on. I think people that border that or neighbor it, I mean, see if they're interested in buying it so you can get a taxable property around some of the properties that they have to enlarge or add on to some of their property that they have. And I've seen it through where I live at. There's quite a bit out there that's still owned by the city itself, and which gets no revenue from it.
yeah, there's some green acre lands at one time where Millville Gardens sat. When those apartments were torn down, I understand it was a part of Green Acres. Tony Trungone at one time, and hadn't got him to meet with Commissioner Suey. They were trying to maybe use it for the school system for an extra field and stuff. And most of our kids live in that area that go to the high schools and the juniors high. But the problem was in the Green Acres, you can't build a permanent structure. So it kind of petered away. Actually, I ended up not winning the election, and it petered away after that. But I'm on the understanding now that it may not be under Green Acres. I could be wrong, but I do believe that I was told that that lot is not under Green Acres no more. So that means it's not under state control. When I say Green Acres, that means it would be under state control on what you can do on that property. So if that's the case, that would be something great. So folks, if anybody out there, we've got a few more minutes left. If you'd like to call in, we'd like to hear from you. 856-696-0092. 856-696-0092. We got some stuff we'd like to talk to you about with Millville. We want to hear what you have to say.
Where is it? Got somebody.
Hello, you're on the air.
Yes.
You got to keep talking. It's radio.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we just thought you had one was seen you picked the phone up. That's all.
All right, folks. So, again, if you could call in, that would be perfect. So, next thing I'm trying to figure out is the crime issue that we have in town.
Right. Yes.
Where we had those 2 shootings, and we need to get the more officers that we needed, but that would help, boots on the ground help keep the crime level down, especially when they see uniforms, because I did it myself. And as we are approaching the ending of the year, we're hoping maybe more fundings will come in. So, hi, you're on the radio?
Hello?
Hi, you're on the radio?
No.
Yes.
Okay, we got you.
Question.
Yes, what's your question, ma'am?
I'd like to ask the candidates a question.
Sure. Where are the candidates? I'm Robert.
Oh, Robert, hi, honey. Listen, this is Missy Toronto.
Okay.
I wanted to know. I'd like Dave Summers to answer this, if he could. Does he have any thoughts or ideas about the housing crisis, the landlord crisis, the condition of the rentals, the code enforcement division, how he may promote a better navigation for the renters and tenants that are living in really deplorable conditions that don't seem to have any representation? And if Mr. Summers can answer that, has any good thoughts, and yes, Mr. McQuade can follow up, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, is this Julie? I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I
Mr.
recognized
Toronto,
it.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, off the top of my head here, as far as the landlords, I'm pretty sure right now, I'm not sure of the laws, but I think they go through an inspection process before they can actually rent these properties out, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
They have to go through that. I have some answers I want to put to that, but I'm waiting for Dave to finish up his.
Well, I think we'll reply back. Yeah.
Oh, can you reply back, Julie?
Yes. I'm speaking specifically on when complaints come in on conditions in the local rental market, and the landlords are not following the code enforcement, they're not repairing the properties, and people are living in continuous problems.
Right.
It does blight the neighborhood. It does blight the city.
You're right. I got 2 minutes here, Julie, so you'll be our last caller probably. For me, what I did, I actually worked with code enforcement. It wasn't my department. It was under Lisa Orndorff. I had many calls, like especially one property. It was 808 3rd Street. Had squatters in there. They were renting. They weren't renting. They were selling drugs and living in there. We went in and contacted the owner of the property, who lives in North Carolina, didn't want the property, and they ended up selling the property, and we ended up having the sheriff's department coming in, and then I told code enforcement to go ahead and hit everything hard that you could and forward it to Sheriff Augustino at that time and move forward. We got another call coming out, I do believe.
Hello.
Hello, you're on the air. Hello, you're on the air.
More callers. You got about 20 or 30 seconds to wrap up.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. We're getting ready to get off the air here, so we'll be here next week at the same time as 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock Tuesday nights. So it'd be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday nights, and it's Talk Around Millville, and it's being sponsored by Summers for City Commission and McQuade for City Commission. Julie, I'm sorry we had to cut you short, but if you can call back in on the next radio show, that'd be perfect. We'll finish more of it, what I did with the squatters. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed night.
Hi, I'm Bill Von Sosko from The Racing Line on WVLT 92.1 FM every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
We'll take your calls, so listen in Tuesday night at 7 p.m. The Racing